Hello. In my last video, I talked about the Where is the Interpreter campaign, hashtag Where is the Interpreter. And that was around the inequalities that we suffer as deaf people. I want to also talk about quite a sensitive area. And I want to reflect on some of my observations. This is in relation to those learning sign language. There's many people out there who are hearing and they are learning sign language as a new skill, and they're really keen to learn the language, which is great. I mean, that's not in and of itself is not a problem. However, there's something that I do need to raise about that, which actually is a negative from my experience, from my observations, and in my conversations that I've had with other deaf people on this. You know, those who are hearing might do their level 1 or level 2 sign language skills and suddenly think they can sign anywhere. Especially like with mainstream schools, you find this. Suddenly they are wanting to employ someone to work with a deaf child, and they might take someone with the level 1 or level 2, or it may be a level 3 qualification. But the problem you've got with that is the deaf children in those schools, their signing levels are not as functional. If you think about young children using sign language, it's going to be a lesser level. So someone with level 1 to say level 4 or level 6, their level of language is going to be very adult in nature. So when they're signing with these deaf children, they don't appear to have the skills that are needed to break language down in a way that's understandable for a deaf child. They haven't learned enough about the language to be able to use that skill that's needed. You know, for those who again are hearing, like for yourselves who are watching this clip, if you are dealing with a child that's hearing, you will adjust the level of language that you use to make sure it's understandable for the child that you're relating to, that you're conversing with. That's a very natural way of using language. But for those who are deaf, children who are deaf, that seems to be a problem, because the adults that are communicating to them in these environments are struggling to be able to adjust that level of signing to meet that child's needs, their language needs, and that's a problem. So the child then is failing to understand what's being signed to them, and they're suffering. You know, so in those schools, whether they have a communication support worker or a teaching assistant who can sign, the question has to be asked, are they really interpreting appropriately? Are they qualified to do that? And the answer is no. Because a sign language interpreter, a qualified sign language interpreter who will be registered with the NRCPD as an interpreter, they will have had the necessary training and experience in how to interpret. So they would have done a level 6 interpreting course, for example, to ensure that they've got the necessary skills to be able to work from English into BSL and BSL into English. For those who have already got their language skills, whether that's a level 1 or a level 6 qualification, they've only done a language module. And so for those, they haven't done any additional skills in how to translate. So that means that deaf children in education are suffering. So say that deaf child wants to ask a question in that lesson. The person, the CSW, whoever that might be, might struggle to be able to convey the meaning of that question in a classroom environment. So this is quite a sensitive area to talk about, to be honest. But it is an area that I have grave concerns around. You know, I'm very passionate about education for deaf children. It's so paramount, isn't it, education? So I'm hoping for you today, this has given you some insights into some of the issues that are faced in this area. Why a sign language interpreter who is qualified would be preferable in such settings in comparison to that of someone who is just a CSW, who's just got signing skills, and what the differences might be. Because what we have to value is the well-being of our deaf children and their education. So thank you for watching today, and farewell for now.